It's about time that I made a classic style guitar channel YouTube video. I have so many different interests within music that sometimes I forget to tell you about what I'm actually using to make music and videos. And this video is sponsored by Distrokid, not by any of the brands I mention in this video. I genuinely use everything I'm going to talk about, and more on Distrokid later. You will also notice that I use certain tech ecosystems from brands that I adore, and I'm lucky that 600 videos in I get sent or have the ability to buy incredible gear. Please just remember I'm 34 years old and I started out with zero gear 20 years ago, and I'm still on a journey to learn and be better. If you have any recommendations for me to try out, let me know in the comments. And this isn't an essential list for you to go out and buy either. There are alternatives, yada, yada, yada. I have divided the gear into 5 categories: audio interfaces, pedals, microphones, headphones, and the guitar recording system I use. So, let's begin. The 2 audio interfaces I use on the regs are the H6 by Zoom and the X4 Apollo by Universal Audio. They both do very different things for me. Starting with the Zoom, I'm actually using the slightly older version of the H6 to record this audio with a boom mic going into input 3, and the quality that you get out of these is quite extraordinary, especially if you are playing acoustic guitar and singing at the same time. I've done this a number of times on my channel, gone outside, put a dead cat on the microphone, and what happens is really great just straight out the tin. I don't really do all that much audio processing, and that's for many reasons, mainly because I don't like to sort of stunt the audio quality. Sometimes you can put too much on something and it just feels weird. Then if you put loads of reverb on something when you're outside, it's also just bizarre to see that. You're like, why would there be reverb when you're outside, you know? And yeah, some of the stuff that I've captured I think has just been really great quality.
There's a church down the hill from me. There's a church down the hill from you. We can both hear that church bell ring. It's called me to worship you.
And it's so easy to use. This newer one has 32-bit, so now forgive me if I'm getting this wrong. It captures basically the whole audio spectrum, and it means you don't have to adjust the gain, whereas with the older version, you had to set the gain right. You could have an option to record 10 dB underneath what you're recording as like a backup version, which I always did. But this one, you don't need to do that. So you just plonk it in front of you, record, and voila. Very easy to use. It sort of looks a little bit complicated, but really isn't. And for inputs as well as the stereo XY. The only thing that I find annoying is that I really love the big SD cards, and this is micro SD, so you always have to take an adapter with you. It uses 4 AA batteries. I always have rechargeable batteries on me anyway, so yeah, it's amazing. You just put it on a tripod, stick it in front of you, and you can capture a hell of a lot. If you're thinking about doing a podcast and you have loads of guests, then you can run it all from this. Super portable, amazing, and for what it offers, the price point is incredible too. Moving on to something a little bit more pro level. This is the X4. Why do I love this? Well, I will, sort of show you extra pieces of gear that I use in more description. But basically, because it has 4 inputs, I have a microphone that uses 2 inputs, and my guitar recording system uses 2 inputs too. So this is all I really need to record. So like when I'm doing the trio videos and I'm doing vocals and guitars at the same time, maybe just to set the demo, it's really, really functional. I always have one on my desktop, and then I have one portable as well. So I can always just like throw it in a bag, take my laptop, and be able to be working from any studio. But it's just incredible. The quality, amazing. Universal Audio really changed my life. switching to their stuff. With Mac as well, it's seamless. Everything just works beautifully. And yeah, more on Universal Audio later. Okay, now on to guitar pedals. I have not been playing enough electric guitar until recently. However, when I was recording the album, and then I've been recording 3 old songs, but with new versions for the upcoming tour, to basically make sure that everything is at the same quality as the album, I dug this pedal out. And for those who have been following this channel a while, you might remember the Turnip Greens by Electro Harmonics. This bad boy. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this because I bought it in January earlier this year, 2016. And yeah, this was my first proper pedal and still one of my favorites. I just love it. And it's mainly for one reason. There is a setting that's reverse reverb that inspired a song called A Little Bit of Madness. And me and my producer were working on revamping it and sort of bringing it up to the quality that I feel like I can produce nowadays, that I'm a little bit older, a little bit more experienced. And yeah, so we've even still got the 75 BPM masking tape on it so that, you know, because it's like a little bit manual, like you can't, you know, you have to really fine tune it to make sure it's actually accurate. But yeah, it's the Holy Grail Max and Soul Food combined. Gorgeous pedal. Yeah, a lot of use out of this. And well, I'll have to take it on tour with me to have on my pedal board to make sure A Little Bit of Madness has that reverse reverb when I slap the strings on the electric guitar. So, Turnip Greens. Yay. Now for a pedal that is a little bit more sophisticated maybe than the Turnip Greens, and that is the Microcosm by Hologram. I know that a lot of guitar YouTubers have been freaking out for years over this pedal. Until you get one in your hands, you do not really realize how adventurous, how inspirational it is, how wild some of the sounds are. And sometimes I'm not super proficient. Some of my friends are literally some of the best musicians on the planet, and I cannot be compared to them and what they do through guitar pedals and how they communicate what they're doing. But all I can say is that this made it onto the album a lot, and not just guitar, but grand piano as well. We ran the grand piano through this and came up with craziness. And that is the sound that's used in I Blame Myself from the album Super Sexy Heartbreak.
I make everything worse. I make everything worse. I make everything worse. I blame myself.
So yeah, it's extraordinary. I want to be brave enough to use this live, and I know that I could really get myself together and be able to do that. But yeah, it's a pedal that gives me a little bit of anxiety, and I prefer to use it in like a recording environment where you can really take the time and measure it and sort of just record crazy sounds while you're sort of free and you have the space to change everything, like the settings. It's just, honestly, there's just too much, but in the best kind of way. It's really, yeah, as I said, it really has brought up so many crazy new ideas for me. And I know it's like this gorgeous box as well. I think the design form is gorgeous too. And every time I look at it, I'm just like, okay, let's plug it in. Let's see what craziness I come up with today. So that is the Microcosm by Hologram. I am a singer and I talk a lot. And for those two things, you have to have microphones. I have the standard SD1 from Universal Audio and the Sphere DLX from Universal Audio 2. The SD1 well, I mean, it would be silly for me not to mention the SM7, which I was using for a very long time. You guys know I used to work for Shure microphones, but the SD1 is just amazing. I actually really think it's just gorgeous. I love the white. I love the fact that it's just plug in. You don't need a cloud lifter for it to work. And then, I mean, the Sphere DLX. Now, this one I mainly just use for demo recording in my office, and I just have it plugged in always on a boom arm. This one I actually bring in here and, have an acoustically treated room for, because this is a really sophisticated microphone that is a modeling microphone. So from this, you download the app and you have a lot of gorgeous, divine microphones at your fingertips, and flicking through them and testing out what works for the song is incredible. So this is sort of my demoing process, or if I'm doing a podcast, and then this is my capturing vocals for my trio videos. And I actually just did a session for my songwriting course, capturing a song, and I use this for vocals too. And, well, it's gorgeous. It lights up blue as well, but it does require 2 inputs. So that's why when I was talking about the Apollo, this is the one that you need 2 inputs for. So if you only have an interface and you're wanting to record a microphone and a guitar at the same time, this wouldn't be very useful to you. But if you have something with a few more inputs, then this is gorgeous. So yeah, I'm really, really thrilled with this. I think the technology now is incredible. And, again, I have friends who are microphone connoisseurs, and I got to use some incredible, very vintage microphones on the album. But going forward, I think this will be my main vocal for Songbook Volumes 3 and 4. I also just think it's very aesthetically pleasing, don't you? For recording myself singing, playing acoustic guitar, or just mixing lightly, my style of mixing, you need headphones. Now, I have headphones and I also have in-ear monitors. My headphones that I have here are the M50Xs by Audio-Technica. These were recommended to me by Rachel K. Collier after I was complaining of having hot ears a little bit too much, and she said that she uses these for long sessions and she's super comfortable with them. And then I also saw an interview where Phineas was talking about these and he was mixing on them. And I was like, if it's good enough for Phineas, then it's good enough for me. And yeah, I've been blown away by them. They're just really, really great. Everyone that has sort of borrowed them has wanted to steal them quite quickly. I can think of one incredibly famous singer-songwriter who I will not name drop. And I was like, I'm sure you can afford to buy your own pair rather than try and steal mine. Anyway, now on to in-ear monitors. These are a very, very professional, high-grade in-ear monitors from Ultimate Ears. I got these molded, in 2019, I think, and I made a video on them in 2020. These are still the same pair. I have 2 pairs. I have green sparkly ones and orange sparkly ones. And I've toured with these in 2019. I think I was using in-ear monitors then. And I will be taking these on tour in September when I go. And these are just so crystal clear, so beautiful, so comfortable. I was recording for 6 hours, some vocals yesterday. And I do prefer in-ear monitors when I'm doing quite sensitive recording. If I'm doing demo recording, then I'll just throw these on. But I think the fact that you definitely cannot have any noise bleed from these is essential, especially for vocals or acoustic guitars, because these are just a little bit, depending on the volume, obviously, but I do like a specific sort of sound in my ears to feel comfortable while I'm singing, etc., etc. So I use in-ear monitors and I think they're divine. You don't need to have the ones that are super molded. There are incredible alternatives now out there where you can, just use the buds and they still look super pro and they're much, much more affordable. But when I got given the opportunity to have this, and, you know, the fact that they just keep on lasting, the drivers are amazing and they haven't gone sour. So yeah, I think I'll be using these for years to come. Last but not least, we have something that made life so much easier for me when recording electric guitars, and that is the Universal Audio aux box. I love it. I love it. I'm a bit set in my ways. I'm going to return it back down onto my lap so that I can just stare at it lovingly and not worry about holding it up and being awkward. This piece of gear not only looks great when it's on top of your amplifier, but it also sounds great. I'm quite simple, I'd say, when it comes to electric guitars. I know there are different options, and I've been experimenting with other products, but I just love having this plugged in into the Apollo X4, into the back, and I just love being able to use all the different cabs, and it's just very simple, and I love being able to capture my amplifier in its sort of just, I don't know, purest form. I record so many different types of things when it comes to, you know, the trio videos. Like I want a particular sound and I wouldn't really know how to capture it. Again, some of my friends are just extraordinary at this, and that's their lane. You know, I'm still singer-songwriter first, but this makes me sound great, I think, and I've used it on a lot of recordings, and I've used it for years now, and I know that they have a mini version which is in the background here, but I haven't used it enough to recommend it in this video, whereas I've used this for 4 going on 5 years. So yeah, the aux box, first came across them when I was at Anderton's recording videos a while back. Saw everyone using them, and it wasn't until I tried one, and maybe you've tried one by now, but yeah, it just made life so easy, so that you can just have that line of just perfect electric guitar recording. And yeah, I love it. I'm a simple soul. Okay, so that is all the gear that I'm currently using and using often. Would love your recommendations in the comments below, but also be kind to me with these products because I really like them. And you know, when you get so comfortable with things that you know the mistakes that you might make, so you sort of protect yourself, you sort of foolproof yourself. And with YouTube and with music, speed is often the most necessary thing. And so if you can have things plugged in already, if you can have batteries charged and you just know that the microphone's ready to go and you can just throw it in a camera bag and just take it out on a session, then that's what works best for me. But yeah, there we go. Some of my essentials. This video is sponsored by Distrokid. Over 1 million artists all over the world are using Distrokid to get their music into Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming services. I've been using Distrokid to release my debut album, Super Sexy Heartbreak, and you can upload unlimited tracks for one low annual price, and best of all, you keep 100% of your earnings. Distrokid also gives you access to the Vault. Every track uploaded is securely saved in their cloud servers, ready for you to download. So if your computer has a hissy fit and you fear you've lost all your tracks, then fear not, Distrokid has you covered. To get 7% off your first year at Distrokid, just click my link in the description. But okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be seeing you here again very, very soon.